This is where it all started when I started doing this graveyard. I started doing this graveyard years ago. So it really kicked me off on grave hunting for my own ancestors, actually. I was doing this place before I even got up to Suffolk or even found anybody up there. St Mary's, Berrow. There's a little door that opens. Quite warm in here, isn't it? I've only ever been in here for funerals. Berrow Church. I hope I can find the lights. It's so dark in here. I'll fill that in a minute. Lovely stained glass window, isn't it? There's a lot of history in this church, by the way. Lots of history. My kids studied it when they were at Berrow School. All the history of this church. And I did everything. I plotted the whole graveyard once. I was doing a project in Berrow. I never thought I'd be leaving Berrow at the time. I thought I'd be always living in Berrow, that I'd never lose my home or anything. Look at that lovely window, that like a kaleidoscope, isn't it? Hopefully this is open so I can get a better picture. Look at that. I hope it comes out on the... I hope it comes out, because that's truly magnificent, that is. The ship window, 1970. A ship driven by the wind was an early Christian symbol. The ship represents a church. The wind represents the Holy Spirit driving it through time. It is an appropriate subject for this tower, which was once a beacon for sailors. And there's I never really studied it properly, this church. That looks really old, doesn't it? I was just doing the graveyard in the past. No access without permission. I might get round to doing towers one day. That's just two little lights that ain't worth bothering with, is it? Yeah, I've been to... a few funerals in here. A lot of people I know from Berrow get married here and they get christened here. And they get their children christened. And I never really looked at the architecture. Look at these windows, they're brilliant, aren't they? To the men of Berrow who gave their lives in the Great War, 1914 to 1918. Edward Wynne Armstrong, Albert Victor Coombes, Sidney John Harn, Reginald Alfred Ham, Roland E. Harris, Fred Norman, John Rawlings, Henry G. Yard. And then there's in memory of the following from Berrow, who died in the cause of freedom, 1939 to 45. Pilot Officer L.R. Binning, RAF. Flying Officer J.M. Brown, Gunner Coombes, W.W. Coombes, Royal Artillery. Someone. I bet if I find the switches over here in a minute. So you don't really take much notice of it when you live in a place. You don't always go to your church and look at round it properly. Joseph Durston, rector of Compton Greenfield in the county of Gloucester. He was the son of Thomas and Sarah Durston of Mark in this county. He died April the 17th, 1770. Durstons then were gents and reverends and things. And I wonder if that's lights. Oh, look. Yes. They've made them accessible. There's a little model of it. Of the church. Bit of colour in the ceiling, a bit plain, but I wonder what that is. That looks like an old beam from somewhere, doesn't it? Oh, the Lord, something or other. Looks like Thomas Norvell, somebody or other. 1537. That's like probably original beam, I expect. It's probably written in the history somewhere. There we are, there's many people I know got christened here. Oh, there's something in it. This is in memory of Clara, the wife of Reverend William Armstrong, vicar of this parish, who died at St. Bartholomew's Day in 1912. Looks like they might be having something on later because it is a bit like very warm in here. Very warm in here. It's quite a plain church, but it's very old. It's quite plain now. You look at the ceiling and that, but that arch at the end looks very, very old. Makes a difference having a bit of light though, doesn't it? That is truly beautiful, that is. To the glory of God, in loving memory of Ruth Marsden, given by her son, William Henry Marsden, 1889. Something vicar. That might be an original font there. This quarterfoil font of the 14th century was discovered in 1926 during excavations in the churchyard. The base of the preaching cross rests on it. The head of this cross, 14th century, was discovered bricked up in a niche in the north wall of the nave. It is considered a fine example of a cross of this period. Yeah, I think that's outside. I often wondered what that lump of stone was out there. 14th century preaching cross, or maybe this is it. Little figures that. outside there you've got the churchyard, which I've done in great detail in the past. Yeah, look at that. A few people will recognise this, won't they? I think at one time, yeah, they did have got some books down there. They had christening books or something. Shut that out. Some old images of the church on the inside here. Looks a little bit more grand there, doesn't it? The altar does, I mean. It's got a lot more wooden stuff around it. Around here, look, all this. Don't see that anymore, do you? There's an old image of the graveyard as well. Right, I'm going to turn off for now. This is the inside then of St Mary's Church, Berrow. I'll be doing a bit outside in a second.